Okay, well, you want to get started?
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. I'm Susie, and I'm the wearer of all the hats for the short of it. That's the place where the short, sweet, and to the point reading can be found. With me today, I have Lisa and Lisa Toomey. Did I say it right?
Nope.
Tomey! Ah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I screwed it up. Okay. Tomey of Prolific Pulse fame. She has a podcast, she has a YouTube channel, a blog, and much, much more. So she is definitely an inspiration to me. I am trying to follow through on all the things that she does too because it's exciting. So thank you for being an inspiration. But let's get to a description. Lisa is, according to Lisa, she's been writing poetry since childhood. She believes in lifelong learning and tender, loving care of one's work. She has published her chapbook, Heart Sounds, in 2018, and has been in Wolf Poetry Literary Magazine and other I can't talk today, and other publications. Lisa works with poets as an editor as well. And I'm not sure when we actually met on WordPress, but I believe it was in 2019 initially when we had the interpretations challenge. I think you were a participant in that, and you have followed me, or you followed me, and then I followed you, and then the short of it came along, and you submitted your pieces to it, and was featured in April of 2020, and then actually April 24th, I believe. So we're like 2 days from our anniversary date. So congratulations on your anniversary too.
Yes. Happy anniversary.
You recently published Heart Beats, the anthology, where I was honored to have some of my work in there. Thank you. It's a beautiful book. And so let's get started. I've got some questions for you.
Okay.
Since we've spoken several times now, I can't remember the exact number, but we had some poetry meetings and a coffee table talk and some other stuff. And also for the Heartbeats, we did the reading there, which was fun. What is it that I don't know about you still?
Well, I have a small press, Prolific Pulse Press LLC.
Okay.
Just started it not too long ago. So that's kind of a big step. Going to be doing my first publishing with that. Actually, it's a oh, I've got tongue twice.
That's okay. That's all right.
It's a
You're
collaboration with another person who I have published before, LaVan Robinson. He and I are doing a collaboration on a book about hope, and it's called Silver Linings.
nice.
And then my second publication with the press will be a full publication of Sita Gaya's book, and it's called Knocking on the Body Store. And I'm really looking forward to that as well. That's going to probably be toward the end of May or June.
Okay, sweet. So that means when I get tired of self-publishing, I can come to you and you're going to publish my books for me?
I might, you just never know.
Okay, well, that's something I'll keep in my back pocket because I enjoy publishing and I think it's fun and I've loved this whole process with the anthology too. But it's a lot of work, man. So much work, but that's okay. It gets the job done. So, um, I've been like all the poet interviews that I've done so far, you're number three, but I've tried to change it up a little bit because I want to know little different things about you guys. But why do you write? What does it do for you?
I think one of the big reasons I write is because it helps me get in touch with myself.
Okay.
The more I'm open my mind to possibilities, the more I become aware about some things about myself. And also, sometimes it's just a release,
Mm-hmm.
especially if there's like a lot of aggravation going on. I feel like the pen is one of my strongest places of power. And
Yeah.
so, like when there's unrest going on in the world, I write something about that to get my words out about it. Because
Mm-hmm.
for me, my words have always been my strongest way of dealing with a lot of things, not so much verbally, but in writing.
Yeah, I definitely can understand that. I feel like I can wrap my mind around a thought quicker in writing than I can in my head. So yeah, I could definitely identify with that. So walk us through the day, or through a day in the life of Lisa. What does that look like?
Oh, this day was pretty crazy. It might be a good example of a day in my life. I start out, with the usual reading emails and making sure all the fires have been put out and everything happened overnight. Because I have a lot of people that I work with that are overseas. So things that happen for them are happening, while we're sleeping. And so dealing with logistics, like sending books and things like that. And then after I put the fires out, then I usually go to do my social media. And because I try to get a post in every day with poems, especially with it's being April. So
Yeah. National
my
Poetry
goal
Month.
has been to do a poem a day, and I've done that. So, and then sometimes I write another poem. I was doing 2 a day, one private and one public, but now I just mostly been in public because I just run out of time unless something just strikes me. And then I belong to a group called Garden of Neuro, and in that particular group, I check into that because it's also it's a place where I interact with other women who majority of them are writers, creatives, and so I check in there to see if there's anything happening with that group for that particular day, and see if I can coordinate that with my schedule because they always do some really great things in the group. And I also am going to start running their poetry circle, and so kind of think of things to keep that lively. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that.
Good. So
Yeah.
how do you juggle all that though? Because I see everything that you produce. So I'm just amazed. Honestly, you are an inspiration to me because I feel like you've got your hands in so many different pies. How do you do it all? What is your secret, madame?
I pinning things on my computer, pin sites.
Okay.
I have a whole row, probably about 10 on a given day, of tasks. And as I do finish each task, I unpin it and move on to the next one.
Oh.
I also multitask. If I'm downloading something while that's downloading, then I'm working on writing something else, or maybe I just go have a cup of coffee. I'm not the kind of person who can just sit and not do anything. I've never been the type of person that's that way. So, I mean, there was a time in my life when I was probably at my lowest and I wasn't doing anything, and I'm probably making up for that now. But yeah, so yeah, I can't, like, some people can sit and just watch TV. If I might have the Gilmore Girls or some other show playing in the background while I'm working on projects, just to because sometimes it's something noise in the background helps me focus.
Yeah, I do that too. I like, and I feel really bad too because with the anthology coming out, it's just taken me into a whole different time zone. So I had literally not read anything in over a week, and it's driving me crazy. And I want to get to it, but back to your point about watching TV in the background, I usually do too. I have the TV running, and then trying to read, and if and I just kind of eyeball the TV just a little bit out of the sort of my the side of my eye, and then I'll be reading actually my poetry to catch up on that. But yeah, I get that. But I applaud you because you seem to have energy and drive that most people don't have, so
Energy
that's
might be
good.
kind of pushing it a little bit. I have to take care of myself because I do have some physical things going on, but when
Okay.
I feel it coming on, I just slow down.
Good for
It
you.
may not appear that way, but I do. I slow
Well,
down and take time out for me.
that's absolutely, and I'm glad that you recognize that for yourself because staying healthy is so important, especially as we get older. I noticed my body's changed too a hell of a lot since, things have things have gotten older and since the kids have left the nest, which is nice. Um, let me hold on, let me get on to the next question. I lost my notes. Hold on. Okay, I've asked every single person this because I just think it's very interesting. I want to know, what is your favorite poetry style?
Oh, boy, that's a good question. I think I really like kind of like the sonnet a little bit, but I don't know if I have a favorite. I write more freestyle than anything else. I don't really use too much form. Well, I'll take that back. When I get stuck, when I'm trying to find the right word, but limit myself so I don't go crazy with useless words.
Yeah.
No word is useless, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I do tankas. I do those in trains. So I don't just write one single one. I write several in a row to make one big poem.
Do
So
you
I
do
tag that Tonka trains.
okay. So do you do like the 1 through 10 and then 10 like reverse it? Do you do that too?
I haven't
To
tried
kind of
that.
it's really I that's fun where you actually make it into like a diamond shape with, the 1 through 10 and then go backwards.
Yeah, I'll try that.
It looks fun. I mean, it is fun, but it looks I guess because it makes it a little more coordinated looking or what do you call it? I can't I'm a writer and I can't remember the name of the word there. Um,
Know what you mean, no, yeah.
it just
You do
makes it
that shape.
equal looking. That's
Yeah.
yeah, my anal tendencies are coming through when I'm speaking to that. But yeah, it just form wise, I think it just looks very symmetrical. That was the word I was looking
Mhm.
for.
There you
Okay.
go.
Yay.
Or
Um,
words escape me all the time.
oh, isn't that horrible? I don't
And
know.
I crucify them. If I don't like a word, I make up one.
Give me an example of that.
Uh, let's see. Oh, I might change something like from logical to logicalistic or so that's probably, something I would do. I create new words.
Sweet.
If I don't
Okay.
like bubbly, I might say it's a bubblist. I don't know. It just has to
Bublios,
fit.
bublioso. Okay. I have to remember.
Bubblyoso. That
I
sounds good.
I will keep an eye out for that because I've not ever heard anybody say that or why they do that, which is cool. What have you found is the most challenging thing for you about writing? And not necessarily all the things that go along with publishing or, the mechanical stuff of it. I'm talking about, getting down and deep and dirty in the writing. What part of that do you find is challenging or excruciating or what is it?
What probably is the most frustrating thing about myself in my writing is sometimes I write upside down. So I will write at toward the end of a poem what I really should have said at the beginning of the poem.
Oh,
So I
okay.
don't do that all the time, but I had someone, actually an editor, look at my work and say, "Tell me what I'm doing here." And they said, "You can see a pattern here." And so I looked at it. They were exactly right. I flipped it. I do that a lot with essay writing too.
Uh, at first I was hard I thought maybe looking at it differently you you work from the bottom up is what I initially thought. Now I understand what you're saying now, but I guess my question to you would be what in your head is saying I need to put I guess where's the flow when
Yeah,
you
it's like a
type that?
reverse
Yeah.
flow. I guess my brain is telling me one thing, but then when it goes down on paper, I'm like, no, wait a minute, I need to push
Mhm.
this up. And by the time I get done, it's flipped, back to where it should be.
Okay.
But I don't know why I do that. I have some
Hmm.
dyslexia, and I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But
Yeah, because it's dyslexia has to do with sequence, right? So that could be part of it. That's interesting. I've never heard that before. That is definitely interesting.
I do
What
math backwards too, so go
do you?
figure. Yeah.
Okay, that is fascinating. Where do you find inspiration even when it is difficult? Like, we all go through some type of writer's block at one point or another, but where do you find inspiration if you
I
encounter that?
don't. I don't really believe in writer's block. I believe that there's words to be written.
Hmm.
Um, it may take us a moment to figure out what they are, but I don't call that a writer's block. Um, I do think we need to refresh. So if I'm feeling kind of stagnant, like there's something I need to do, or I don't usually lack words to write, but if I get stuck, I will just examine my environment. You know, I can look at a lamp and write about a lamp, and by the time I get in, there'll be a whole story about how I bought that lamp. And my friend went with me, and the excitement I had, and how part of it is from one person and the other part is from a thrift store. And next thing you know, I have a story.
And you know, it's interesting you said it that way, because it for me, it identifies that you write a lot like, what is his name? I was going to say Billie Holiday, but it's not. It's Billy Collins. Are you familiar with his
Oh,
work?
that's a high compliment.
Yeah, I love the storytelling aspect of your work. So definitely take that as a compliment, because I think he's exquisite. I could never write like that, because that's just not my frame of mind and how I envision a story. But I do think that that is very similar to how you write too, for
I
sure.
see. I like to write poetry that has a memoir feel to it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I can take a lot of experiences in my life and work it into a poem.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that about myself at first, but now I see a lot of my poems are about something in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's necessary. I think we've talked about this on another time, that expression is important, because if you feel it, you got to put it out there. Otherwise, what's the purpose of experiencing it if it doesn't change something either within you, or I think, you know, your intended audience or whatever. I think that's part of it, is being inspirational to a certain degree, I think. Um, you say that you believe, I read this on your bio, that you believe in lifelong learning. When did that realization hit you? Or were you just naturally inquisitive from birth?
I've always been inquisitive, always been curious, had an extremely vivid imagination from the get go.
Mm-hmm.
I come from two very imaginative parents, and neither one of them being, well, dad did write speeches, but as far as writing goes, they did write creatively, but it was in different ways. You wouldn't
Yeah.
read it in a book or anything like that. Um, but I believe that in learning new things constantly. There's never a day goes by I don't think of something I want to learn more about, and I earmark things for later learning, or I'll just stop what I'm doing and pay attention to something. Like lately, I've been working on diversity and understanding, you know, terminology that's proper to use when you talk about people that are disabled and that. So I'm trying to gain an understanding about the language, you know, and that's a very full study in this day and age. We
Oh,
have so many names for things that I didn't even know about.
yeah, every day. And I always wonder too, does the breaking down of, or like really compartmentalizing descriptions, how helpful is that to us? I know that we're going in that direction, but is it separating us more, or is it actually bringing us together? So I'm having a hard time with myself in my head with that one.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I think it helps to gain an understanding,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think it's a good idea to point people out as being certain ways, you know,
Right.
like pointing at anybody to call them anything. I think it's rude and
Mm-hmm.
inappropriate. And, um, but it just, I think if we can understand
Mm-hmm.
about why they are that way, or
Mm-hmm.
why you know, what terminology to use if you need to use terminology,
Right.
I'm good with that.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. Labels or descriptions are descriptors, but we still don't know who they are as individuals. We just see how they would describe themselves. So I think it's still, you need to make the effort to make the connection to really get to know who they are as individuals. I'm curious with what you just said too. What were you like as a student in school? If you are a lifelong learner, uh, did you respect the people who were teaching you, or were you self-taught?
I respected the people who were teaching me. I was a little bit afraid of some of them growing up because I have a wandering mind. And so I daydreamed a lot in school. I probably missed out on a lot of things because I daydreamed.
Okay.
Still can daydream. I still do that. People can be talking to me and not hear what they say. But so I kind of feel sorry for the teachers that had to have me in their class in a way, but I was so quiet I just didn't want them to call on me.
You were
I
busy.
The question they were asking. My mind was too busy off on something else. Yeah.
Right. You were in your own world. You were creating.
I was.
Yeah. You're having fun.
I was.
That's interesting. Okay. Well, I was going to say this, you're on stage right now. You're on deck, so go for it. And please read the poem that you have selected that you published
sure.
in the anthology.
Well, thank you so much, Susie, for accepting my poem in your anthology. It means a lot to me.
It's beautiful.
I know how particular you are, so the fact that I made the cut, makes me feel real proud.
Good. You should be. You do write well.
Thank you. This poem, I'm going to give just a little bit of backstory on it. It's actually a true story. It's about when I was caring for someone. I've been a caregiver for several people who were at their end of life. And as a caregiver, this is exactly what I experienced. And it just came to me, to put this in a poem. It's actually going to end up in a book that I'm writing for myself. And so here goes. It's called Silence. The morphine drip is shielded, hidden from plain sight, tucked away in her nest, snuggled under fresh covers. No pain, no worries, just solemn slumber. Taking a cue from her, I push my recliner close to her bed. I press my body close to her side. Taking her hand, I close my eyes and enjoy peaceful slumber. This is the supreme closeness we need. Hers to know she's not alone. Assurance as she grasps my hand snugly, as much as I grasp hers, and rest we must. Her for the relief of pain, me for energy restoration, and we sleep.
That's like tugging at your heart. Can you share a little bit about where that originated from?
Yes, I was living in Wilmington, North Carolina at that time, and it was my mother-in-law, and she had cancer, and I was her person. She had my then husband, and but he had to work, and plus she just made me her person. I was the only one who could feed her. I was the only one she wanted in her presence. If I had to leave, she would be upset till I got back. So I pretty much just lived with her between the hospital and hospice, and so we developed a real closeness that we didn't always have earlier in our relationship, but we developed such a closeness that she put all of her trust in me, and I learned some things about her, and so it was a mutual thing.
Wow, that's touching. And I think that caregiving is difficult. It's not an easy task to be on. Being a parent is being on 24/7 too, but caring for somebody and their welfare is a difficult task, emotionally, physically straining, mentally too. So it's a challenge, but I don't know, especially from, what I take away from your poem is that somebody has put their life into your hands for care. And that is a rewarding feeling, I think, too, in and of itself. So it's hard, but it's good. I don't know how to explain it any other way.
I wouldn't take it back. I would do it all over again if I needed to.
Yeah. And may I ask how long you had to be in that situation where, you had to provide that care?
See, December, about 3 months.
Wow. That's tough. Well, I'm grateful that you had the experience that you had out of it and that you got something from it too. Cool. Well, thank you. I can't tell you how joyful it's been to work with you and speak to you on several occasions
Same.
now. I have just really enjoyed this whole process with the anthology, but I've also loved the experience with the short of it, period. You know, you guys have come into my life and I've benefited from it. So just wanted to say thank you too. This was a way for me to give back a little bit.
Thank
So,
you. It's been a pleasure.
all right, Lisa. Well, it was great talking to you today. Thanks for taking
Here.
the time. And I will talk to you soon. I'll keep you updated.
All
Thanks,
right. Thank
everybody.
you.